Derby County are in need of a younger centre-back to help push themselves forward in the division and in potential loss of Erin Cashin this summer. And a player who has been noted as a player who could potentially come in loan in January and potentially a long-term signing in the summer is Tristan Crama. He is currently contracted to Brentford, but he's spending his time on loan at Exeter City. He's a 23-year-old centre-back, a player who I believe could improve Derby County. Now, if you have not done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and turn on the notification bell to stay tuned for all of my latest Derby County content heading your way across the course of this upcoming year. I posted just a few days ago my Christmas update video where you can see all the things that I plan to do over 2025. There's a targets video coming on January 1st, so make sure you stay tuned for that one. But let's take a look into Tristan Crama. So, as mentioned, Tristan Crama is 23 years old, born on the 8th of November 2001. He's currently spending his time in League One for Exeter City, as well as being contracted to Brentford as his parent club. He is a centre-back who has played over the course of a few different leagues but not really made that many appearances. His contract expires in 2026, which could open the door for a potential permanent move to the Championship or League One over the course of the next few months. And he's a player who I believe could improve Derby County's options and potential options for the future in that defensive area. Now, if we look at where he's played, you can obviously see he's played in a range of different competitions, ranging from the French Championship National, as well as the N3 Octanine, as well as playing in League One, the FA Cup, the EFL Cup and EFL Trophy. His most appearances have come in League One, where he's made 46 appearances, scoring twice, assisting 2. He's made 6 appearances in the FA Cup, scoring just once, as well as the other appearances he's made as well. We then head on to look at where he's made those appearances. He's spent time at Bristol Rovers, Exeter City, Beziers B, AS Bezier and Brentford. He's yet to make his Brentford debut, a debut which I probably believe is not coming for him. But he's made 34 appearances for Bristol Rovers with 2 assists, 22 appearances for Exeter City with 3 goals. So he's a player who can offer on both ends of the pitch, and he's made all his appearances at centre-back. 3 goals, 2 assists, as you can expect. Nothing changes there. And he's a player who, in my opinion, could take over that role of a Darren Robinson as a sort of a 5th choice centre-back. But obviously, as we get towards the summer, the likes of Sonny Bradley and Nat Phillips are gone. And that leaves that centre-back position wide open, especially if the likes of Brighton, West Ham, all come back in for Erin Cashin, which I think is a massive possibility based on the performances he's put in. I do think it's massive and imperative that Derby County make the most of Erin Cashin and really maximise his value this summer, because I do think he's a player who, if he doesn't leave, could become a future captain for the club and could go on to make hundreds and hundreds of appearances for Derby County. And in my opinion, if we can start pushing towards the top end of the division, I think he'll make an absolute brilliant centre-half in that top 6 section of the division and maybe even the bottom half of the Premier League. At the moment, that's where I think he could perform, and we'll have to see what happens with that over the course of the next few years. But if we get into the squad depth chart, we know where he's going to fit. We've spoke about centre-backs a lot over the course of the last few videos, and he certainly fits into that Darren Robinson, Jake Rooney sort of role at the moment, where he probably wouldn't get a great deal of game time, but he'd be learning from the likes of Erin Cashin, Curtis Nelson, Sonny Bradley, Nat Phillips, and it would give him that opportunity to get himself within the squad. And I do believe that some of these centre-backs need to open up their doors to the full-back positions, because then you make yourself an opportunity if they play a back 4 or a back 5, because you can play as that left-sided centre-half or the right-sided centre-half, or you can play as a right-back in a 4, and then if the formation changes, you can play as a centre-back as well. So it sort of opens up that door, and that's what I think is missing within football at the moment. It is that versatility from players. There's not many of the likes of your Ben Osborns, your Liam Thompsons, who can really play in a massive different positions, and that's what teams really need these days. Because you look at a likes of Marcus Harness, can play in that number 10, can play either wing, can also play as a false 9 as well, and also in that midfield role. And that's something which I believe is really good for a player. I think it's an excellent attribute to have, and it really engages your manager into wanting you in the squad, because you can play anywhere. Also gives you that opportunity to be a starting player and not be a player that gets taken off, because you can just be moved positions. And as frustrating as that can be for some players, especially you look at the likes of Ben Osborn, moving between left wing back, centre midfield, holding midfield, it sort of does open up those doors. He's also played on the left wing on occasion, and it opens up doors for more appearances, but ultimately you never really get comfortable in a position. Now, with this deal with Tristan Crama, it'd obviously take up one of those centre-back positions in the squad depth chart, but how would this deal happen? It would have to be a potential loan for the time being, and he'd obviously have to get recalled from Exeter, just like a lot of the players I'm talking about recently, because they are on loan at League One clubs. But a lot of those Premier League clubs are going to want to be giving their youngsters championship experience, so that they could potentially move them on to a championship club with money who's going to pay the fees to bring these players in. And yes, it's a potential loan deal, which could add to the defensive options, similar to those that we spoke about already. I do believe that your likes of Ipswich, your likes of Wolves, your likes of Brentford, obviously now, I do think they all want those players to be getting that championship experience, because that way they can maximise the profits off these young players that they've either bought in for cheap as youngsters, or they've brought through their academy, which is full maximised profits. And I think Crama is one of those players for Brentford who they can see as one of those players, a bit like a Saeed Benrahma, obviously not the same position, not at all the same type of player, where they go and make 20 odd million on him. And I'm not saying that they'll make 20 million on Crama, obviously at 23 years old, only really got League One experience. He's maybe not sort of in that bracket, but even if they make 1-2 million on him, that's pretty much pure profit for them. So it's going to be a massive situation to see how this develops over the course of the next few months. Is he a player who's going to come to the Championship? I'm not entirely sure, but I do certainly believe that it could be an option. Now, obviously, a lot of these deals that I'm talking about will be loan deals. And obviously, we're not going to sign everyone that I talk about across the course of the next month and a half. But there's certainly a lot of players in that position who are potential loan signings who could really make a difference for Derby County and make more of a difference than those current loan players we've got. The likes of David Ozo and Twan Chiwa, who really haven't played a great deal. You look at Marcus Harness, you look at Jerry Yates and Nat Phillips, they've all had a massive impact. And I'm not saying that David Ozo didn't have an impact when he played, but ultimately he's been out now for nearly 3 months, and it's disappointing that he's not involved. And obviously I would like him to be playing every single game, but if he's not going to be available and we're only going to get another 10-15 games out of him, we need to go and get someone who can play the next 20 games, in my opinion, who's going to have a mass impact on what the team do over the course of the next 6 months and their ability to stay in the division. Now, David Ozo, wonderful talent, massive future ahead of him. Is that future staying at Derby County? Probably not. And that's where I think a player like Tristan Crama comes in to add to those defensive options. Obviously not a defensive midfielder, Tristan Crama, but obviously if Derby County are to let go some of their loan players, they are, in my opinion, going to have to be replaced so that we can keep those loan perspectives and those squad depth options going. And Tristan Crama would certainly offer that for Derby County. Now, if you have not done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and turn on that notification bell to stay tuned for all of my latest Derby County content coming your way on the channel across the course of the next year. There is a video out on Christmas. If you haven't seen it already, make sure you go and check it out, where I spoke about what we're going to do on the channel over the course of the next few months and hopefully turn this into a full-time gig. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one.